Present over here. I am Dr.E.Kamatchi, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, PG. There is a continue of the Company Law and Corporate Governance. The Companies Act 2013. Shares and debentures. Introduction to share. The share capital of the company, including stocks, is a definition of the term share. In other words, the share is a parameter, a measure of the interest in the company's assets held by shareholders. Meaning, the share, a share is a stake of person shareholders of in a company. It represents the interest of a member of a company. Its interest of the shareholders. A company can help to calculate dividend value that is to be delivered by each shareholder. The kinds of the share capital: share, equity share, and preference share. Preference share capital, also known as preferred stock. The star company pay dividends and shareholders ahead of dividends on regular stock. Preference shareholders make it the dividend as set amount. Preference shareholders are given the priority over the equity owners when it comes receiving dividends. Preference shareholders are entitled to receive the payment from corporate assets from before the common stockholders, and the company's preference shares have a fixed dividend, whereas the common equity often does not. The preference share capital is a part of the issued share capital of the company carrying a preferred right for dividend payment. A fixed amount calculated at the fixed rate. This might not be subject to income tax. Repayment in case of winding up or repayment of the amount of paid capital share capital, there is a preference right to payment if any fixed premium or any fixed scale. The memorandum of articles of the company specifies the same. Types of the preference shares: convertible preference shares. A share of a convertible preferred stock or those that are the share can be converted to the equity shares and period of the already determined the articles of association of a company. The procedure of conversion give under the article of association of a company. Non-convertible preference shares. A preference share with the non-convertible conversions. Future cannot be converted into equity shares. The shares cannot be converted into equity shares. There is a fixed rate of dividend and holders prior right over the assets and the time of liquidation. Redeemable preference shares. Issuing a business can buy back or redeem at the set of price known as redeemable preference shares during the lifetime. These shares benefits the business by acting a cushion against inflation. Non-redeemable preference shares. Non-redeemable preference shares are ones that issuing corporation cannot redeemable or repurchase at a certain rate. Non-redeemable preference shares, the lifesaver for business during the inflationary periods. They are also known as the perpetual preference shares. They do not carry maturity date with them. They are paid at the time of the winding of the company. Adjustable preference shares. The dividend rate of the adjustable preference shares is variable and affected by the current market rates. The dividends on such shares are dependable upon the financial factors of a company like profits, earnings per share. The dividend rates fluctuate as per the financial performance of the company. This provides shareholders with a chance to get higher returns in prospective times. Characteristics of preference shares. They are transformed in a common stock, a simple convert to preference share, the ordinary stock, dividend payouts, dividend priority, voting rights, and asset performance. Equity shares capital. Equity share capital encompasses the share capital which is not a preference share capital. Equity shares are also known as ordinary shares that represent a basic back form of ownership in a company. These shares possess certain rights like dividends, voting rights, stakes in company assets at the time of liquidation. Equity shares, the common share types. The firm, in order to raise a company, cover the long-term expenses known as the ordinary shares. Investors receive the portion of the company. The amount of corresponds to the number of the shares held at that time. Voting privileges will be available to common shareholders. Preference shares guarantee that investors will receive the cumulative dividends before the common shareholders. Preference shareholders, on the other hand, don't have the same membership and voting privileges as regular shareholders. Bonus stock, a share equity issued by firm corporation from the retained earnings is called bonus share. In other words, corporation issue bonus shares as a way to distribute its earnings. However, unlike other stock shares, this is not raise the company's market capitalization. Thank you.